Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to be ranking the films of Darren Aronofsky, one of my favorite directors of all time. He is a very unique director in his ability to manipulate your emotions. I don't know if manipulate's the right word, but take you on an emotional roller coaster that's unlike any other director I've come across. Maybe Gaspar Noé's close, and I'll talk about him eventually. But yeah, only 8 films to rank today, which is awesome. It's not like a huge catalog like Kurosawa. Dreading making that video, to be honest. But yeah, let's get into the rankings. So at number 8, a bit of an obvious pick, I have Noah. I still don't know why this film was made. Much like The Exodus, Gods and Kings by Ridley Scott, I don't know why they went out and made this film. Like, I kind of get it. It's a very strong story. Like, how do you go wrong telling Noah's Ark? But it's just a bit bland. I didn't really get much out of it. I love Russell Crowe, but I can't remember anything unique about this movie that really made me want to go back and rewatch it. I've only seen it once, so maybe I'm not giving it a fair shake, but yeah, I don't get much out of Noah, to be honest. At number 7, I have Mother. Now, this is also a divisive film. I love it. Honestly, I'm a big fan of Mother. I can't wait to go back and rewatch it. When I saw it in theaters, I walked out of there like whoa. That felt like an Ari Aster movie, but even more intense. I don't know how exactly to describe Mother. I mean, if I do a whole video on it eventually in the future, I can maybe pull my thoughts together on it, but it is such a weird film. For those of you who've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who haven't, man, it's a trip. It's a trip, and I love it. There's so much there to unpack, and I've unpacked it, a little bit of it in my head, but wow, Mother is a crazy film, and I'm happy it exists, even though it's incredibly confusing and can seem meaningless at times. But I think there's a deep message in there, honestly. And yeah, I thought Javier Bardem and Jennifer Lawrence were spectacular in it. So I have that at 7. At number 6, I have The Whale. I think I reviewed this film on this channel, but yeah, I loved The Whale when I first saw it. When I saw Brendan Fraser's performance, I'm like, please just give him the Oscar now. Like, that was one of the best performances I've ever seen. And the weight transformation obviously is amazing. The way the story's told, it's all happening in this little apartment. It's a bubble film, and that adds so much to the emotional impact at the end. And yeah, just an incredible film. I don't know how often I'm going to go back and rewatch it. I feel like this is a once in every 5 to 10 years rewatch kind of film, but I'm very happy it's there, and I had an amazing experience with it, seeing it in theaters. At number 5, I have The Wrestler. Again, Darren Aronofsky just somehow pulls out the best performance in every actor's career. This is Mickey Rourke's best performance ever, I think. I think it would be hard to argue against that. It's just such a beautiful, amazing film. Tells a tragic story in such a deep, cutting way. There's nobody like Aronofsky when it comes to cutting deep and getting to those emotional nerves. And The Wrestler does that fantastically. And I highly, highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. And number 4, I have Pi. And it might be a little bit high for some people, but the thing about Pi is that it's the first film he ever made, and it was made on a very low budget. So for a directorial debut, going back and rewatching this film, it's freaking intense. Like, that he pulled this off. Maybe his most conceptual film too. It's confusing. I'll say that. I've seen it twice now, and I still don't understand all of it. Pi is it's an enigma for sure. The only film that he's done that's in black and white, which I guess was a creative choice. A lot of directors do that for their directorial debut. I think The Following by Christopher Nolan, another example of a directorial debut that was in black and white. But yeah, Pi is just so strong. It might be the best directorial debut ever for a feature film, although you have films like Reservoir Dogs that are very hard to top. So yeah, I have Pi at number 4. And number 3, I have The Fountain. Wow, is this a trippy movie? I would love to see this in IMAX. If there's one film, well, there's probably a ton of films, but in that list of films that I would love to see in IMAX, The Fountain's up there because it came out when I was like 6 years old. But going back and watching it, Raquel Weisz and Hugh Jackman are just tremendous in this, and the story is Actually, no, this would definitely be his most conceptual film. The story is all over the place. I mean, it's jumping around through time and space, and it's intense. Again, a very emotional film. I love The Fountain, and I actually need to go rewatch it. I haven't seen it for quite a while, but yeah, I just remember having very fond experiences the first time experiencing that. Now, my top two are definitely going to be my top two. Um, at number two, I have Black Swan. Black Swan, again, is a movie that just absolutely crushed me and pulled my mind apart when I first watched it. And for a movie that can, confuse you and pull your mind apart in like a psychological way, but then also cut deep emotionally, that is such a feat. And there's one film that he does it better in, which I'll talk about in a second. But Black Swan is like just so beautiful. The chemistry between the two lead actresses, Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis, is tremendous. Again, it might be their best performances they've ever had. And just, wow. Yeah. So many of these Aronofsky films I want to talk more about, but I'm going to be here all day. So eventually I'll do full film analysis videos for just about every film on this list, with the exception of Noah. And I'll go more into my thoughts about these films because they're so deep. I want to do them justice eventually. But yeah, at number one, I don't think it's too much of a surprise. I have Requiem for a Dream. Just the most emotionally crushing film I think I've ever seen. It's like Enter the Void, Requiem for a Dream, and Come and See. I think those three films, out of all the films I've seen, the thousands of films I've witnessed, those three films have crushed me emotionally the most. When I first watched Requiem for a Dream, I watched it, alone in my bedroom. And by the end of it, I was curled up in that fetal position as well. I was just destroyed, absolutely destroyed. And it made me, not depressed, but it made me sad for like a week. And I was thinking about it constantly. And I still think about it from time to time because, wow. I can't wait to do my film analysis video on this because this is an absolute masterpiece of cinema. And if it weren't for it being so emotionally destroying, I think most people would have this like in their top, 10, 15 movies ever made. Like, it is an achievement. Everything from how the score builds up over time and the transitions through the seasons. There's so much to talk about with Requiem for a Dream. It's absolutely brilliant. And if you haven't seen it yet and you're brave enough, just be warned, like, it's an emotional roller coaster that crashes into a brick wall at the end. So, not to spoil anything, but it's a tragedy for sure. And yeah. I don't know when I'm going to rewatch it next. It's a lot to put yourself through, but I love Requiem for a Dream. I think it's Darren Aronofsky's best film. But yeah, that's my list. Let me know in the comments how you guys would order them. I had a tough time ordering this list. So many of his films are so great, and they're some of my favorite films of all time. But let me know in the comments how you guys would order them, which one's your favorite, which director should I cover next. Let me know. With that all out of the way, thank you guys for watching. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps boost this channel in the algorithm. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and peace.